Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another Vita Student Monthly MVP. I'm here with Alex, who is our winner for June. If you'd like to say hi.
Hello, everyone. It's Alex.
Awesome. So we were discussing a little bit before I started this interview, but you had an insane number of nominations coming through this month with 77 different people nominating you. Do you have any idea why you might have been nominated?
Um, I mean, to be honest, I wasn't expecting such a high nomination count. I mean, like we said in the pre-interview, I did get some messages from friends saying they had nominated me, and I'd asked some friends to nominate me as well, but I had no idea it was anywhere near that high. I think the three main branches are probably to do with my work with the Halo community, the work the Call of Duty community, and then the work with the strategy student communities. I think those are the three main reasons from what I gather.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely, I would say pretty much every single nomination mentioned specifically strategy and Call of Duty. So if you wanted to just touch a little bit on what exactly you've done for those communities, that would be great.
Sure. So I'll start with the university grand strategy community because that's the first one that I really touched upon. So I found that with universities, with university societies, there's usually actually a pretty significant strategy community there, specifically with universities such as Durham or Southampton or Warwick. Those are some big universities. They actually have quite a sizable strategy community, and these are for Paradox grand strategy games. So some of them you might have heard of, like Hearts of Iron or Stellaris or Europa Universal. We also do Civilizations as well. That's another big kind of grand strategy game some people play. So a lot of these universities have these strategy communities, but there's no sort of bridge, let's say. There's no facilitation for these different separate societies to come together and merge those students and let them play games with each other. So whilst, for example, Southampton or Durham have sizable strategy communities and they play games quite regularly with each other, there are perhaps some other universities that are smaller, maybe like Teesside, for example, is quite a small gaming society for that university. Perhaps there's some people who play strategy games for those universities who don't necessarily have a group of other university students they can play strategy games with. So what I did, I saw that there was kind of like this gap in the university esports gaming ecosystem, you could say. And I created the University Grand Strategy community with some help of some friends. And basically, what that is, it's what it says on the tin. It's the University Grand Strategy community. So whatever university you're from, whether it's Leeds, whether it's from Durham, whether it's from Teesside, Salford, Manchester, you can join this community, and you will have a guaranteed opportunity to play with other students who, for some, are for the first time connecting with other students for the first time with these grand strategy games. There are some people who have thousands of hours in these games and they only ever play solo, and for the first time, they can actually meet people who have a similar interest. So it's really lovely to see on that side of things. So from here, what I've basically done with help of my friends is I've built this strategy community for university students that just has not existed before in any other kind of iteration. The COD community is different. There have been other iterations of that, and we'll move on to that in a sec. But there's just never been anything like this for the strategy community. So now there's this community where different people can come together and finally play the games for each other. And I'm very proud that with UGSC, which is the acronym, there's always a guarantee that there's always going to be consistent games and there's always going to be good turnout for those games. So you can always join this community and there's always going to be some people you can meet and play games with, which I'm very happy about.
Yeah, no, that's really cool to hear. Obviously, I'm gonna touch on strategy more a bit later. I myself enjoy a bit of Civ, so I'm pretty interested to hear how it all works. But like you've said, it it's kind of a thing that doesn't exist before. There's no space where people have just been able to play these games with each other. So it's really cool that you've put this community together. You touched on it yourself, but obviously Call of Duty is a slightly different situation where it's more of a revival of sorts, I guess, than a brand new startup. So if you want to explain about how you've got that community together, that would be great.
Yeah, so that's exactly it. So with the University Grand Strategy community, once that was in a good place, we've got like 15 or so volunteers working that community now. So it doesn't really require as much input from me. I've kind of moved on to the University Call of Duty community, UCDC. And basically, University Call of Duty, there's been two previous leagues. Um, Both have done fantastic jobs, but unfortunately, they never seem to have lasted that long. And for the past few years, there's kind of been this gap where Call of Duty, for the most part, I mean, you can debate this, but it's still a popular and well played game amongst university students. But there just hasn't really been, um, once again, anything to facilitate uni students playing Call of Duty with each other. I've seen in the old University COD server, it's disabled now, unfortunately. But there are new joiners joining into the server saying, "Hey, when are there going to be COD tournaments? When is stuff going to happen?" And unfortunately, they're just not running stuff anymore. So I kind of had my eye on this for a few years, actually, looking at this gap. And I thought I just happen to have some free time now. UGSC is in a good place. I'm going to move on to the University Call of Duty community and try and see if I can get that running. So we did our first tournament actually in June. So just last month, it's a very new community. That was quite successful. And then we followed on with a second tournament, and that had even more players sign up for it. And even now with UCDC, we've done some 8 nights, some community nights, and every time we get more and more people involved, which is really great to see. In fact, in order to facilitate university students getting involved in the Call of Duty esports space, what we're trying to do with UCDC now is try and form a team of university students to go and compete in actual normal Call of Duty esports tournaments. So, for example, with the Amateur Esports League, there's a tournament coming up for that. So, I'm trying to form a UCDC champ squad, the best of the best, if we can help it, from UCDC to go and fight off in that tournament and represent their respective universities. And I've seen a lot of overwhelming support for that at the moment, and a lot of overwhelming support for the community in general. Lots of people have come to the community saying, "Hey, look, there just hasn't been any COD going on for a while, and now this exists, and I can meet other people from other universities and play COD with them, play Warzone, play ranked." I, for one, have already made like quite a few friends from this community, which is really nice to see. Um, so yeah, University Call of Duty community is brand new, but we're really trying our best to try and take that to as many places as possible. We've got a YouTube, we've got a Twitch, we try and save the VODs so people can watch them in their own time. We've got a Twitter so we can expand our audience to as many people as possible, get our message out saying, "Hey, look, we exist." Um, I know I'm starting to ramble on a little bit, but there's quite a lot going on. There's a lot of moving parts. The Call of Duty community, I think, is quite interesting because I would say actually a lot of people, a lot of uni students who do play Call of Duty are actually not necessarily the kind of uni students who are in all the gaming and esports societies, which is interesting. Call of Duty is a very mainstream game. Um, so, funnily enough, a lot of the largest universities that we have in the community have come from people telling their course mates about it. And actually, they haven't come from the university society. So it's a bit different in that respect. So it's quite interesting trying to see how we can tap into that university audience and try and outreach to as many people as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I it's kind of interesting that it's the case with Call of Duty as well, because I was under the assumption that for something like the strategy community, it's mostly going to be people that just happen to play and their friends maybe play a few games like once a month. Myself, for instance, like we play maybe 3 civ games a year because it's just about like the time of getting everyone together, and obviously
Yeah.
they're a long game. So I think it's really surprising to hear that Call of Duty is kind of in a similar space, since it's more of like a traditional esports title rather than something that you just like chuck on the side type of vibes. Strategy might be a bit more like that. I was going to ask, particularly regarding the strategy community that you've set up. Obviously, this is something that didn't exist before, and it is kind of a game where maybe a few people in a society will play it, but there won't be a dedicated space for it. Did you have any like difficulties or challenges in terms of figuring out exactly how to get people together for it?
um, that is funny because I'd say with UGSC, with the strategy community, it's actually been really easy to recruit people. Surprisingly easy. It's been so much easier with UGSC than it has been for the COD community. I don't know what it is, but there just seems to be a lot of there are strategy segments
Yeah.
on university society Discord servers, and the people who play those games. It just so happens that they really like those games, and they just have a lot of passion for having the opportunity to play with other people. So I think what I did for recruitment for UGSC for the most part is I first went in all the societies, and if they had a strategy section, I'd just say, "Hey, do you guys like strategy games? If you're interested, there's like this new Discord server where you can play against people from other universities, and if you're interested, please hop in and join." Um, I think I'm also I quite like to DM people quite a lot. So if there's a strategy section and if people have a strategy role, I'll just DM them saying, "Hey, look, I just happened to see that you had the Stellaris role, the Hearts of Iron role. Would you be interested in playing sometime?" And I find that people really do respond a lot more if you DM them directly. So from that point of view, we've had a lot more people join the server through that way. I think there's quite a difference between strategy gamers and COD games, though, because I've had the experience of trying to recruit for both communities. When it comes to the strategy gamers, they're just so eager. They're just so passionate about the game. When I text them saying like, "Hey, do you wanna join?" I'd say I'd probably get like a 60% to 70% response rate. Is quite high, and it's always positive. Um, and people join the server, and then they start playing on our Hearts of Iron games or Solaris games. So it's great. It's quite easy comparatively. With the COD server, I use the same sort of tactics, but like I said, I think it seems that most people who play COD just happen to not be in the gaming society so much. Maybe it's because it's just not supported as much in those societies. Maybe it's because people who play COD are just a different type of gamer. I don't really know why, but that's just the common sort of tactic I've used to try and recruit people and let them know that this thing exists if they're interested in it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I have a hypothesis of my own that maybe it's kind of to do with the saturation of the genres. In the obviously strategy is its own unique genre, and really there's a lot of different strategy games around, but it's each one is different in its own way, and obviously it's the same with FPS, but the underlying theme is a lot more prominent in FPS than it is in strategy, I would say. So it's could be even be the case that there's these COD players, but they're not in their societies because there's just so much FPS to pick from type of vibe.
Yeah, I think you could well be right. I mean, there's definitely some games that are more similar to others. I mean, CS:GO and Valorant. I think people like to draw comparisons with those two. They are very similar. They're definitely different, but they're also very similar. I have some friends in the University Call of Duty community. There's one friend called Kojo. He's on the committee for Kiel. I will literally see him playing Valorant, COD,
Yeah.
Siege, Overwatch on Discord. Like he's playing them all. I'm surprised he finds the time to play in UCDC, but it's great that he does. But I think you're pretty much on the money there. I think you might be right, Laura.
Well, thanks for stroking my ego a little bit. Glad to know I have some knowledge. Yeah, so I mean, obviously, you've just run your first tournaments in the Call of Duty, and you have the ongoing games for strategy. I was just wondering if you had any future plans for either of the communities, like if there's anything big coming up people could get involved in.
Um, well, I mean, with the university grant strategy community, we'll start with that. We run Hearts of Iron games. It used to be weekly, but I think the Hearts of Iron volunteer team, they're actually ramping up production, if you like. So I think we've got a few games a week now at the moment. So they're usually on a Friday, but they seem to be switching out different days. So if you're interested in that, there's always something running every single week. Europa Universal, once again, we've got a new campaign coming up, not next week, but the week after, every single Saturday. Um, we run stuff quite regularly with UGSC. With the COD community, it's a little bit different. It's a more traditional tournament format
Hmm.
community. So we have an off season. We're in an off season at the moment because we've just run two tournaments last month. Although I've had quite a few people, new joiners to the community saying, "Alex, when's the next tournament? When's the next tournament? I want to do duos. I want to do duos." So I think I have said end of July, start of August, we will do another tournament. There's quite a few things on the cards for UCDC. I think it's either going to be a duos tournament, a duos Warzone tournament could be in the works. A free for all tournament has also been proposed by some people. So one of those three is going to happen end of July, start of August. End of July is also when we'll be putting forth our UCDC champ squad. So signups are open for that. If you want to try out for that team, by all means, join the server, let your interest be known. I'd be more than happy to get as many people possible in that team. If there's even more numbers, we could actually field two teams potentially for that as well, if there's enough support for that. So I'd more rather have one team that's got a guaranteed amount of people who will play for it. But if there's just enough people, more than happy to do two teams as well. So those are some of the upcoming activities with UCDC as well.
That's great. I mean, you guys are clearly very, very busy across both. So very impressive to keep that level going. So since this initiative is sponsored by our headline partner Vita Student, I always like to ask a little fun student accommodation-y question at the end. So I actually have a little would you rather for you. In your accommodation, would you rather have unlimited snacks or unlimited caffeine?
Oh, that's such an interesting question. Um, I mean, if I at university, I'd probably say unlimited snacks. But during the course of my previous employment, I might say unlimited caffeine because that job really required me to start becoming a coffee drinker. But unlimited snacks, I think.
For sure. I mean, I actually, strangely enough, very anti-student, anti-gamer stereotype. I don't really drink caffeine at all. So, snacks definitely work
Ah,
for me.
interesting.
Okay.
Actually, no, you've blown my mind a little bit. When you said caffeine, I was thinking of coffee, but now that I think about it, caffeine can also encompass Monster. So if it
Hmm.
was unlimited Monster or unlimited Red Bull, actually, I might have to switch my policy there and go for the unlimited Monster.
Fair enough, fair enough. There's so many flavors to pick from, right? So you just gotta pop
Oh
them
yeah.
all. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining me today, Alex. It's been great talking to you, and just congratulations again on being our Vita Student Monthly MVP for June.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.